Pandas supports a rich set of functions that import data in a wide variety of formats. The supported formats include CSV and Excel, which are the focus of this lesson. Pandas can also directly import data stored in databases, web formats such as JSON, common statistical packages, and common formats used in big data applications. Start by opening Lesson 19's notebook. We'll start by importing a CSV. We can open the CSV in VS Code. The CSV has two columns. The first row contains the column names, and then the rest of the file contains the values. Read CSV imports data stored in CSV files and other delimited text file formats. The basic call requires only the file name. Read CSV supports a large set of keyword arguments that facilitate importing a wide range of text file formats. The most important of these are index call, which is used to set the data used as the index when importing a file, parse dates, which converts string dates to Pandas timestamp objects, and skip rows, which skip rows at the start of a file. First, import Pandas. We use read CSV to import the file, followed by the file name. The file is in the data directory, and so we need to prepend data / before gs10.csv. We can use head to examine the contents of the data frame that holds the imported data. We usually want the date to be the index, so we can use Pandas date selection. We can set the index column by providing the optional index call keyword argument, followed by the column name, date. Rerunning this cell shows that the date is now the index, which is indicated by the offset of the date in the GS10 at the top of the data frame. This column does not contain dates and instead only contains strings. To get Pandas to convert dates when reading a CSV, we need to set parse dates to true in the read CSV command. If we rerun the cell and look at the index, we see that it is now a datetime index. Read Excel imports Excel files, both XLS and XLSX. The only required input is the file name. The optional keyword inputs are index call, which sets the index when importing the data in the file, sheet name, which reads data from a specific sheet, and skip rows, which ignores rows at the start of a file before beginning to read data. Data in Excel files is imported using read Excel, followed by the file name. Examining the head of the data frame, we see that the imported data looks completely wrong. We could open the Excel file to see how it is structured. The top of the file contains several metadata rows. Counting the metadata rows, we see there are 10 before we get to the row that contains the variable names. This is the first row that we want to import. Returning to the notebook, we can skip these rows using the skip rows keyword argument, followed by 10. We can also use index call to set the index column to observation date. Running the cell, we see that GS10 Excel now has observation date as the index. We do not need to parse dates since the date columns in Excel are automatically converted to date times. Finally, we will explore the steps needed to convert dates manually. We start by loading the CSV without any conversion. We can use the date column using gs10 raw.date. ToDateTime is then used to convert the string dates to a datetime index. We can set this as the index by assigning to the index property of the GS10 raw data frame. We can inspect our data frame by looking at the head. We see that while the index is correctly set, the date column is still in the data frame. We need to remove the date column using the del keyword, followed by the data frame and the date key. Examining the first few rows shows that this data frame has the desired structure. This final example shows a slightly simpler way to construct the same data frame. Rather than grabbing the column, we can use the pop method to both select the column and to delete it from the data frame. Examining the head, we see that the date column is no longer in the data frame. Then, we can convert it and assign it back to the index. Running this cell shows that the data frame created is the same. Read CSV and Read Excel are key functions that import data in common file formats. Read CSV is used with comma-separated values and other delimited text file formats. Read Excel imports data from both the modern XLSX format as well as the older XLS file formats.